like somebody's moving. To go to the Swiss Chalet that's on Hunt Club.
That one.
Yeah, or I think they call it Enniston. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, the one that's used to be down here that we went to all the time, that's changed. It was bought out by a local restaurant guy who had a restaurant in the West End, and he set it up here. It's called Chances Are.
Oh, yes. We've been there.
Yeah. Food is not that good though.
Pastor at the church where it was held. He knows the family and says it has been a difficult time.
It's all been overwhelming. Like, they've been dealing with this loss all at once. Nobody expects this to happen to you. And, all of a sudden, people you love are taken from you. And it's a helpless feeling, overwhelming. And I'm sure there's a roller coaster of a lot of other emotions.
Brockville police continue to investigate the killings. They have charged a 17-year-old with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Police say the boy was in a relationship with one of the daughters. Ottawa firefighters say one person is dead after last night's fire. They were called to the townhouse on Russell Road shortly before 11 p.m. to find it engulfed in flames. The fire spread to a neighboring unit. 4 people were able to get out, but 1 resident could not, and officials say they died. 10 people are now out of their homes. Sam Enkeman lives behind the townhouse complex. He and his wife say that they were about to go to bed when they noticed the fire.
We started hearing the sounds of the fire, and then people yelling, and my wife just bolts up and goes, "Oh, that's a fire." And then we look out, and we just see the glowing from the fire, because we don't have any windows that back onto the property. And then we came out, started seeing people running around, and called 911.
Firefighters, police, and the Ontario Fire Marshal are investigating what caused this, but police say that the fire has not been deemed suspicious. A warning that our next story deals with the sexual abuse and exploitation of children. A province-wide police operation in Quebec has led to the arrest of 23 men. They've been charged with crimes relating to the spread of child sexual abuse material. Since the operation began on Monday, 4 victims have been identified. Melissa Francois has more.
Quebec Provincial Police say they've arrested 23 men in connection with an investigation into online child sexual abuse material. They say the men are between 26 and 73 years old. They were arrested in an operation that took 3 days, from May 11th to May 14th. 160 police officers from Montreal, Longueuil, Gatineau, and Laval departments were involved. Of the 23 men, 7 remain in jail at this time. They've been charged with possession, distribution, and accessing files of child sexual abuse and exploitation. In all, the operation targeted 25 locations. Police say they've seized at least 4 million child sexual abuse files. They've identified 4 victims. Provincial police added that the public can report any instances of online exploitation at cyberaid.ca. Melissa Francois, CBC News, Montreal.
That's
Transit
horrible.
expansion and road maintenance are about to create more traffic headaches this summer. The city of Ottawa is officially kicking off construction season, complete with a polite request for drivers to be patient. The CBC's David Fraser reports.
Construction season is arriving, the city gearing up for more projects, showing off plans for roads at an event marking the start of crews paving, rolling, grading, and more. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe is asking for patience.
We have to get through that period of disruption.
The city is expanding South Bank Street. It's adding new facilities across the city, including at Lansdowne Park, and work continues on the expanded east-west LRT line. It all means more traffic backups, especially along the Queensway. Councillor Tim Tierney.
Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of patience that's going to have to be exercised.
Beyond the city construction, the province is continuing work on highway bridges and other road maintenance. Mayor Sutcliffe says he's aware the congestion will frustrate drivers who take Highway 417, where lane closures, LRT construction, and other work is backing up several kilometers each morning and night.
I was disappointed at how that was handled. I think there is a better way to manage that.
The mayor and the city say, despite the frustrations, the construction season is important and updating infrastructure will have a long-term benefit for Ottawa. David Fraser, CBC News, Ottawa.
And finally, Gatineau Police and the city of Gatineau seem to have made a costly design error. After months of work and just one day after it was unveiled, the new logo made for the city's police has been scrapped. Kimberly Molina has the details.
It was a new logo designed for the city's police force. The stylized bird meant to be a symbol of police protecting their land and communities. Police originally said it was designed in-house with help from the City of Gatineau's communications team. But within hours of showing off the new logo, Gatineau Police heard concerns from residents. The city says it learned the image came from Shutterstock, a generic stock photo website. It holds a license to use Shutterstock's images, but is unsure if they can use one in a logo. Simon Fournier is Gatineau's police chief.
They saw the bird somewhere else in the internet, and we do some research and we find it.
The new logo costs about $8,000 to promote. Marie-Hélène Rival is with the city of Gatineau. She says they're now launching an investigation.
For the moment, it's too soon to tell, but I would say that unfortunately the bird was there and we found out that it was coming from this platform at the same time as our colleague.
For now, Gatineau Police are going back to their original logo, but it's unclear whether they'll commission a new one in the future. Kimberly Molina, CBC News, Gatineau.
And that's all the news for now. Here's Doug back with a look at the roads.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's busy on the westbound 417 from Parkdale right out to the other side of Woodruff because that's where the construction zone starts. It's busy coming at it from the west end as well on the eastbound 417 from the 416 into just past Bayshore. So slow there, very slow. Worse westbound than eastbound, but it is busy both directions converging on the construction zone. Also, because of the work happening there, that's it's just making a mess out of Woodruff, particularly Woodruff north of the 417, including the ramp to the westbound 417. Those ramps just awful. Southbound Woodruff is just stopped from Carling right to the highway again today, even though it's Friday before a long weekend. And then as a result, a lot of folks trying to avoid all this, they're jamming up the westbound Kissimmee-Meekan. It's really heavy, just not long after Woodruff, and it's slow all the way up to Carling. So everyone's just lining up in that right lane to go west on Carling. Westbound Richmond Road is also busy in that area too. Lincoln Heights, westbound from westbound from Woodruff all the way to Carling, really slow there. So you're not going to enjoy that again today. When I left here yesterday, what I did is I went straight south. I went west into Hittenberg, and I grabbed Holland and then Fisher, and I took that all the way to Baseline, which was wide open, all the way to Greenbank, where it was slow there because of construction. But otherwise, that was the way that I got out of downtown. I was used to Heron and Baseline. I would recommend it, although there are some busy spots on Heron and Baseline right now, mostly
That somehow involve
monsters, creatures, magical beings of some kind, demons, devils, monsters, whatever you choose from. There are a lot to choose from. And say what would happen when those two monsters meet. So for instance, you could take Ashley McIsaac's devil in the kitchen and pit him against another creature.
There's a trap called Swamp Thing. Watch out!
Yeah, see this?
Yes.
Yes, this would count. Ashley McIsaac teaming up with BKS on the track Swamp Thing. So your job to win the City Folk tickets, the passes for the entire City Folk Festival, is to tell me what would happen when Swamp Thing and the Devil in the Kitchen meet. Who wins that battle? That is a tricky one, actually. I'm a DC Comics person. Swamp Thing, very powerful individual. So it's up to you to tell me what would happen when the two of them cross paths, and let me know. All in a day at cbc.ca. All in a day at cbc.ca. Many to choose from. It could be Amigo the Devil's Monster Under the Bridge, Alice Cooper's Teenage Frankenstein, Cameron Whitcomb's Medusa, Of Monsters and Men's The Beast with Four Dirty Paws, the Demon and Third Eye Blind songs, or the Monster We Become as described by Switchfoot. So many you could go with. So it's up to you. Take a look through the lineup, pick some two songs, and tell me what would happen when those creatures meet to win a full set of passes from City Folk. Your job is to send it to me by Wednesday, all in a day, at cbc.ca. Chris Edwards joining us with today's business news. Hi there, Chris.
Hey, Alan.
We're starting the long weekend. A lot of people, of course, topping up on gas for road trips. I saw an endless amount of people as I was walking my kids to school today, getting all their stuff into the car. How are prices looking?
They're way up. Not that most drivers need me to say that. According to data analytics firm Calibrate Canada, the average price of gas across the country is now $1.96 a litre. That's up nearly 7% from last week and 46% compared to a year ago. Though here in Ottawa, Calibrate says the price is $1.89, but that's just for regular gas. For mid and premium, you'll need to add at least 10
All these people are going to Costco. You have to be in line for that.
In a marsh, in a swamp. You heard that right. Joining me now to hear more about this festival, being festival's co-organizers, Jenny Lapp and Arden Rogalski. Jenny's part of the group Jenny, John, Michael, and Liam, and Arden is a member of CN, and they're both with me now. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. What's the level of panic right now? Your festival, all-day festival starts tomorrow morning. How are you feeling? No, wait, this starts tonight. This starts tonight. You need to be panicking way more.
We have a show in about 2 hours, and we've just come inside at the house this show is at from doing some sound setup with the band who is here tonight.
Yeah, they're waiting for us to finish up sound check right after this.
Okay, so CBC is getting in the way of the festival is what you're saying right now. I understand. Give me a sense of like, for instance, on the poster it says that Michael Antelope is going to be playing in the same venue as Jenny, John, Michael, and Liam in Swamp Ward. Like, do people get more of a location than that, or they just keep wandering around Swamp Ward until they find it?
Listening for the show. Yeah, so the way we've done it is we've kind of said the vague parts of the neighborhood that each show is in, and then people, they fill out a form actually that we have kind of linked through our social media, and then we send them an email with a specific address. So that is just our way of being able to manage how many people come to the shows, and also not publishing people's addresses of their houses.
Because only people smart enough to follow all these instructions will be able to find you. And then
it is a little bit of a maze. And I have had some people say, "How do I do that?"
They'll figure it out. They'll be good. They'll be able to get through this. So, how did you choose the spaces? Or like, how did you know where you wanted people to go?
Yeah. So a number of all the spaces we're using are houses of friends or family. So we kept this like pretty close to home, just as our inaugural festival. And so, for instance, show tonight is at my parents' house. Who are very kindly hosting the opening night.
Those are good parents. Those are good parents.
Absolutely.
We were lucky though, because we kind of thought of what houses we wanted to have the show at, and everybody said yes.
Okay, so you weren't campaigning, you weren't wandering around neighborhoods ringing bells. Have you ever thought about having
No, we were wondering if we would have to do that, but everything fell into place pretty easily.
We wanted to keep them all walkable between for anyone who wants to hop from show to show. They're all right around the same neighborhood in the Inner Harbor, so just to keep it accessible for people who are on foot or biking
must be
around.
down in Kingston.
When did you start working on this?
Because there's no harbor here.
I would say about 2.5 months ago.
Like, what sparked the idea of okay, you know what, let's do an all-day festival in people's yards?
I had the idea, and you know what, I don't totally remember why. Other than, both of us have been talking about how we felt like there is a lack of these DIY spaces for shows with small artists to happen in Kingston.
Yeah, it is in Kingston.
And I think it was out of that feeling of a lack that the idea started coming to me, and house shows are a way to create spaces for that when formal venues are lacking, which is definitely the case in Kingston at the moment. We've just had 3 more venues close in the last few months.
So this is an inventive way of getting at that, or?
Yeah. No, it feels like, as Jenny said, like, there's a need for something to fill the void. There's been a really strong DIY scene in Kingston in the past, but there hasn't been for the last number of years like a go-to place that's regularly hosting music. And then with sort of some of the traditional venues, like bar venues, closing in the last year, it feels like especially like there's a more of a pressing need for like an alternative.
Well, if you want to talk alternative, I don't think you can get much more alternative than not only is this a concert that's happening in a swamp/marsh, but it's happening at 5 in the morning tomorrow. Do I have that right?
You do have that right.
It's not a typo. That is the correct time. You're doing a 5 a.m. concert.
This is what everybody's been asking, and it isn't a typo.
Tell me about that.
For sure, yeah. So that show, we'd asked this particular act if they wanted to play at the festival, and they said, "Can we play at 5 a.m.?" And we said, "Sure," but we didn't know how many people would want to come to that. And since we're keeping track of all of the RSVPs, we know that almost 20 people have said they will be coming.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 brave people are coming at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Well, after this, you don't know. The All in a Day listeners, like, they live for getting up at 5 in the morning and going to a swamp.
Yes, please come.
What swamp are we describe where this is going to be happening?
Yeah, so this is right along sort of the mouth of the Cataraqui River, coming out of the lake, and it's a performance that's like site specific. So I think it's been kind of created to be it has some themes of cattails in the marsh. For instance, the band will be performing on cattails, an instrument made from braided cattails.
Wow.
So yeah, it's also been created to be like a performance that goes with the sunrise.
Yes.
We're starting just before sunrise, and then it'll be continuing as the sun's coming up.
And the band will be using some sounds from the marsh also in their performance.
I would think so.
Wow.
So part of the idea, I think, is amplifying the sounds.
a good book to dive into when you are feeling confused about your art, when you are exploring your art. Within every stage, it's really just a bunch of his thoughts, of being his own creative person and successful creative person. But I think it's very relatable, and the thing that I love about it, it's so human. I find that when I read it, it's kind of like taking the ego away of everything and just like making the art, doing the art. I'm a really firm believer that everybody comes into this world being really expressive and being a creative person, and we kind of almost lose that, as we get older. So I love this book because I don't feel like it's just for creatives. It's for everybody that just wants to tune into what our natural way of being is.
It's the way you light up every room. It's about everything you do. God gave me an angel in disguise, giving me hot bulls, brown eyes. And it's the way you're strong and unafraid. It's about how you pave our way. And I would everything not to prove.
So it was a nice day, eh, Connor?
Yes, it is.
I really enjoy having you along. This is so much fun. And you're a really big help, too.
Megan De Lima with Queen. I'm Antonio Michael Downing. You're listening to the next chapter on CBC Radio 1. Wayne Johnston is a master storyteller. He's been at it for 40 years, writing novels and memoir. Newfoundland figures prominently in his books, its history, its politics, and its people. His new novel is The Novice of Holloway Hall. It's a story of secrets swirling around the family and its ancestral home. Wayne Johnston joins me today for an installment of My Life in Books. And he's left his bunker, which is what he calls his writing room, and he's actually here in the studio with me. So
live,
double lucky. And he.
At least it's not very, very hot.
At least there's that.
And they're in the shade, so that helps too.
Rondé Williams and the CBC Books digital team. Downing, thanks for kicking it, and I hope we see you next time.
This is CBC Radio 1, 91.5 FM in Ottawa.
I'm Saroja Coelho. Coming up on Just Asking, new stats released this week show that more Canadians are filing for insolvency. As the cost of goods from food to gas climbs, what questions do you have about managing debt? What do you want to know about the options that you have? We're live in 1 hour. Phone lines are open right now. 1-888-416-8333.
Hey there, I'm Craig Norris. Coming up on In the Key of C, your music-fueled journey around Ontario. I'll spin a bunch of tunes that mark this being Victoria Day weekend. Plus tracks from Soft Cult, Cameron Whitcomb, Kaylee Cardinal, Bobby Pizzini, and a whole lot more. It's right after the news on In the Key of C on CBC Radio 1 and on the CBC Listen app.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Kaz Bovin. We begin in Victoria, BC, where officials have just confirmed one of the 4 Canadians who was on board the MV Hondius cruise ship has received a presumptive positive test for hantavirus.
Clearly, this is not what we hoped for, but it is what we planned for.
Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry provided the update.
One individual started to develop mild symptoms, including a fever and a headache, 2 days ago. Late last evening, the BCCC
very calming voice.
That the test on the individual
that's okay,
who had these
everything's
mild
going to be
symptoms was positive for the Andes strain of hantavirus.
The patient and his partner are in isolation at a Victoria hospital. Henry says the person's symptoms remain minor. They're in stable condition. She says infection control measures were used throughout their quarantine as well as during their transfer to hospital. And she says she's confident there is no risk to the public and only a very low risk for the healthcare workers treating the patient. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, at least 80 people have now died due to an ongoing outbreak of Ebola virus.
Jeez, that's deadly.
People cry outside of a hospital in the eastern city of Bunia. Medical workers are scrambling to screen people and trace
from monkeys.
contacts. The country's health minister says the outbreak's suspected index case dates back 3 weeks in Ituri province. Uganda has also now reported one person in Kampala has died of Ebola virus. Officials there say the infected person had traveled from DR Congo, though it's not confirmed whether that case is linked to the ongoing outbreak. 2 First Nations in northwestern Ontario have declared a joint state of emergency. It's in response to what they call a drug epidemic and escalating violence related to drug trafficking. Mark Carcazol has the details.
Ganoogaming and Long Lake No. 58 First Nations say the majority of these problems are coming from outside of their territories, citing recent arrests, which included suspects who did not live there. In their joint state of emergency, they call for added resources in things like policing, security and intelligence, mental health and addictions, and child, youth, and elder-focused treatment, recovery, and aftercare plans. We got a statement from Indigenous Services Canada who say that they will review the community's letter, hear directly from their leaders to better understand what they need so that they can respond in a coordinated way. In the meantime, Ganoogaming First Nation has taken matters into their own hands, passing a community protection order bylaw and hiring a private security
get
group.
The plants out
they
first,
say that they will be searching vehicles, searching band.
Very good tips from that guy about cars.
Great. It should be right about here.
That's where your friend used to live, eh?
Yes.
Michael.
I think his name was, it was either Devin or Michael. Something like that.
I think they moved. There's another person sitting out there now. Was Michael the father? I think he might have been the father, right?
Or
belt too. You see these little tiny
Yes.
things going on. Kind of an old sports bar, second-rate dental clinic.
In 1979, American paleoanthropologist Dr. Donald Johanson spoke with then host David Suzuki about the discovery of Lucy, a 3-million-year-old skeleton that's one of the most significant fossil discoveries in history.
This was big news when it happened.
Our entire picture of the evolutionary history of humans since the time of our ape-like ancestors is based on a few fossil skeletons. The work of the Leakeys at Olduvai Gorge in Africa has pushed the dawn of human beings back over 1 million years. Now comes word that a find in a different part of Africa, Ethiopia, identifies our ancestors from over 3 million years ago. A skeleton dubbed Lucy more nearly resembles a missing link. Donald Johanson, curator of physical anthropology in Cleveland's Museum of Natural History, discovered this skeleton, and he's on the line now. Dr. Johanson, could you describe the creature you found?
What we have found, and what has just been announced and published in the lead article in the journal Science, is a new species of human ancestor, which we've given the unfortunate tongue-twisting name of Australopithecus afarensis to. It is a very thought-provoking discovery in the sense that it dates deposits well dated between 3 million and 4 million years. This species was a successful species for about 1 million years at least, and successful over a wide geographical area ranging from a site in Tanzania up to some sites in Ethiopia separated by about 1,000 miles.
Do you think that the creatures that you've been studying are in a direct line in our lineage, or were they a sideshoot?
No, they are in the direct line. They represent a generalized, undifferentiated ancestor, which was ancestral to the line that led to modern human beings, Homo sapiens, through Homo habilis and Homo erectus, but also ancestral to the line that led to the extinct form of Australopithecus, known popularly as Zinjanthropus, the discovery made at Olduvai Gorge, that became extinct about 1 million years ago, probably because it became a very over-specialized vegetarian.
If you were to take your skeleton and build it back up, put all the muscles and skin and so on back onto it, what kind of a creature would we see? Could you describe him for us?
I think we would be struck by a face that was remarkably like that of an ape, on top of a body that was not built like, let's say, an American football linebacker, but was muscular. It wasn't sinewy and linear in terms of being very thin. It was a fairly muscular body. We would be struck by the fact that it was walking upright, and we would also be struck by the fact that males and females were considerably different size. Males were on the order of 5 or even more feet tall, whereas females were between about 3.5 and 4 feet tall.
Was there any social structure, do you think? Have you found groups of skeletons together?
We have found a group of skeletons, a remarkable discovery, the first time in studies of human evolution. A group of a minimum of 13 individuals.
Look, so she's got a lampshade on her head, for Pete's sake.
We're probably living together and experienced
but it's a folding hat.
And were buried by natural conditions in one spot. We don't know what sort of social structure we had. That's really impossible to reconstruct, but at least we know that our early human ancestors were living in groups, and here was a group that met some sort of common demise.
Where did you find them, and how?
These were found in a region of Ethiopia mostly, which is called the Afar Triangle. It's an area north of Addis Ababa, in a remote region of that country, which has been, until recently, virtually unexplored. A French colleague of mine by the name of Dr. Maurice Tayeb in Marseille, and I have been working there since 1972, when he first, in the 60s, made some initial discoveries of sites which were yielding possibilities.
Dr. Johansson, thank you very much. Our 3 million year old ancestors, a very exciting find indeed.
Thank you very much for calling.
That was an interview with Dr. Donald Johansson and former Quirks host David Suzuki, which aired on January 20th, 1979. Now, we have to take a short break for local news and information. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon, it's 1:30. I'm Elise Scurro with the latest from the CBC Ottawa newsroom. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe says he is in contact with the Privy Council on concerns over OC Transpo's capacity to support the federal return to office mandate. He was responding to worries raised in an internal document obtained by the Canadian Press. More public servants are set to head back to the office this summer. Ontario's Ministry of Health says a person in the province who recently traveled to East Africa is being tested for Ebola virus and is in hospital. A spokesperson says the patient is being tested for a range of infections out of an abundance of caution. And the Canada Strong Pass is coming back. The federal government says free camping and discounts for kids on museum entrance and Via Rail passes will return this summer. More news at 2 o'clock here on CBC Radio 1 91.5 FM in Ottawa. Now here's your weather forecast for Ottawa. Environment Canada has issued a frost advisory. That's at the yellow or moderate level. It says that frost is expected tonight as the temperature drops towards freezing. It's sunny today with a high of 15 degrees. The UV index is high. Clear skies at night. That low of 0 brings with it some patchy frost. Tomorrow, sunny, the high 20 degrees. The UV index is high. Some increasing cloudiness at night with a low of 7.
Okay.
Welcome back. I'm Bob McDonald, and you're listening.
Newfoundland's Matt Wright. Come on out, Matty. There he is. Welcome, bud. Matt Wright, everybody. And this comic prolongs her subway rides by going 2 stops forward, 1 stop back. It's because news is Jan Caruana. Come on out, Jan. There she is. Hi, everybody. Hi, Steve. One of our very favorites. Your topic is one that we feel carries a lot of weight. Shopping carts. Are they superior to baskets? With the rising cost of groceries, I have a radical new way of shopping. I don't use a cart or a basket. I only buy what I can carry in my hands. Saves a lot of money. Although last year it did make Thanksgiving dinner a little sparse. But it did make cleanup a lot easier. And it's a great incentive for other members of my family to host Thanksgiving. Which I'm thankful for. Time now for a debate that puts the carts before the horsing around. So, whereas they offer bigger capacity, make shopping with children easier, and are more fun to use, be it resolved shopping carts are superior to baskets. Matt, you are arguing for this, please. You have 2 minutes, my friend. Starting now, Matt Wright.
Thank you. I was at the grocery store the other day. There was a shopping cart that they had fashioned to look like a truck, and there was a little boy sitting in it, and he looked at me and he said, and I quote, "Meep, meep."
It's like the Roadrunner.
That is enough to win this argument. Kid in shopping cart, adorable. Kid in basket, about to be abandoned outside a fire department. Let's start from the beginning. Shopping carts were invented in 1937. In these times, men were very busy, drinking scotch, looking out the window, and never changing diapers. So women were responsible for buying the ham, for bringing home the ham, and for encasing the ham in Jell-O. Were women allowed to drive in 1937? We have no way of knowing. As this is history, that was lost when the Roman Emperor Nero burned down the Library of Alexandria. The shopping cart was these poor ladies' only vehicle, and Jan wants to take it away. Now, initially, men would not use these devices as they thought they were effeminate. So let's take a minute and just think about things that men once thought were exclusively for women that are now very important pillars of society. Drinking water. Stretching. Resolving conflicts without using those guns with the little knife on top. If a man thinks something new threatens his masculinity, it probably means that it is a plus for society. Meep, meep.
Well, he did a pretty good job there.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Shopping Cart. Now, here to artfully basket weave together laughs and logic, let's hear from Jan Caruana.
Thank you very much. Let me paint you a picture. You enter the supermarket, greeted with two choices. The first, a cart, reminiscent of something you push in a coal mine. A symbol of hardship, toil, of never seeing the sun or hearing a bird song. Because every canary you've ever met is dead of carbon monoxide poisoning. Your second choice, a basket. A handy little conveyance you drape over one arm like a Birkin bag. Why, you'd half expect a tiny little chihuahua to poke its head out of such a thing as you saunter up and down.
Clear skies at night with a low of +5. Tomorrow, sunny, becoming a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon with winds gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour. The high is 21 degrees and the UV index set to be very high. Showers are in the forecast for tomorrow night with a low of 9 degrees. And for Sunday, showers continue through the morning with a high of 14 degrees and a low of 12.
Listening to the Province's Open Line show, Ontario Today. I'm Stu Mills, and we continue our conversation about the quality of truck driver training in Ontario after the Auditor General found big gaps in a recent report. What are you seeing on the roads? 1-888-817-8995. Last summer we heard from you about the issue of Driver Inc., a problem where truck drivers were classified as contractors to save in taxes. CBC reporter Robin Miller looked at
your emotions intact when people were sharing their stories, but I think it was a much needed trip that needed to be done by elected officials, especially in the province.
traffic isn't too bad.
It's steady. And so it's good. Get over to this lane here. There's somebody in a convertible. Probably one of the few days in the year that they can actually drive it. But it's very steady. I mean, there's lots of traffic out there. See if we can get the air conditioning going here. Take a while to start warming up here. Sun is hitting that at an angle. What time does that say now?
It says 12:49. I think we're through the worst part here now. I'm sure I will.
I know you will, sweetheart. Oh, okay. Go to one side and got to go to the other. So